There are moments in life when the ground beneath us seems to crumble, when all we've known is taken away, and the path forward is not merely difficult, it is invisible. In these moments, we are tempted to retreat, to despair, to fold our spirit into the silence of defeat. But I say to you today, it is exactly in these times that we must hold our heads higher. For the strength of a person is not measured by how easily they walk when the road is smooth, but by how firmly they stand when everything around them shakes. Mental strength is not born in comfort. It does not emerge when everything is aligned in our favor. It is not the fruit of ease or luxury. It is forged, yes, forged, like iron in the fire of adversity. It is in hardship that we learn who we are. It is in trials that we see the depth of our character, the quality of our convictions, and the reach of our hope. And it is in the darkest hours that we either break or become unbreakable. I have seen people suffer the indignities of injustice, stripped of their rights, cast into shadows by systems that were designed to break their backs. And yet I have also seen those same people rise. Not with bitterness, not with revenge in their hearts, but with a quiet, unshakable resolve. They endured because their minds were free, even when their bodies were not. They held on to the light, even when it could barely be seen. That, my friends, is mental strength. The world may take away your possessions. It may silence your voice. It may deny you a seat at the table, but it cannot take away your dignity unless you give it away. And when you refuse to give it away, when you say, I am still here, I still matter, I still believe, you become unbreakable in spirit. That is what adversity teaches us, that our true strength does not come from the outside, but from within. To become mentally strong is not to deny pain. It is not to pretend that suffering does not exist. On the contrary, it is to feel the weight of suffering and still choose to move forward. It is to cry, but never quit. It is to know fear and still walk through it. It is to stand alone if you must, but to stand with integrity. You will be tested. You will face days when nothing makes sense and no one seems to care. You will be misunderstood. You will be betrayed. You may even be abandoned by those you love. But do not let these things turn your heart to stone. Let them make your mind sharper, your will stronger, and your soul deeper. Because strength is not in how loud you shout, but in how deeply you endure. I say to you, carry your burdens not with bitterness, but with courage. Let every scar become a lesson, not a prison. Let every fall be a chance to rise with greater wisdom. Do not fear failure. It is the raw material of resilience. Do not run from pain. It is the sculptor of strength. You cannot control what storms come your way, but you can decide whether they will destroy you or define you. We were not meant to live sheltered lives, protected from every difficulty. We were meant to live boldly, to be challenged, to be stretched, and yes, even to be broken, so that we might be remade stronger than before. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to be strong. Do not wait for others to believe in you before you believe in yourself. The mind is your battlefield. Win there, and no force on earth can defeat you. So, when life becomes heavy, when your knees tremble beneath you, when you are tempted to give up, remember this. It is in those very moments that your strength is being revealed. Not the strength of muscle, but the strength of will. Not the power of privilege, but the power of endurance. Rise through it. Rise because of it. Rise and become the proof that adversity does not break the strong. It builds them. Asterisk, asterisk, let the world know. I did not come to be broken. I came to become. Asterisk, asterisk, there is a war that many never see. It is not fought with weapons, nor does it leave ruins in cities, but it decides the fate of nations, of communities, of each and every soul. That war is fought in the quiet space between our ears, in the mind. What we allow to take root there shapes our future, our character, and the legacy we leave behind. To become mentally strong, we must learn to win this war. We must train our thoughts with the same discipline as a soldier sharpens his sword. A mind left untended will wander. It will chase fear, feed on doubt, and drink from the well of despair. But a mind that is disciplined, a mind that has learned to rise above noise and temptation, becomes a fortress. It is not easily shaken by insult or failure. It does not seek revenge when wronged, nor does it collapse under pressure. Instead, it stands with clarity and calm, unmoved by storms. I have seen with my own eyes how powerful the mind can be when it refuses to surrender. When it declares, "I will not be ruled by fear, I will not bow to hate, I will not give in to hopelessness," the body follows, the heart steadies, and the spirit soars. But that power comes not by accident. It comes through daily choices, small, quiet decisions to hold ourselves accountable to truth, to reason, to purpose. What you think matters. Let no one tell you otherwise. Your thoughts are seeds, and your life becomes the garden. If you plant anger, you will grow bitterness. If you plant doubt, you will reap hesitation. But if you plant belief, resilience, and patience, you will harvest strength. The most dangerous enemy is not the one in front of you. It is the one inside you, whispering that you are not enough, that you cannot change, that the struggle is too great. That voice must be silenced with truth. And what is that truth? That you are the master of your mind, that you can choose what stays and what is cast away, that the past may have written the first chapters of your life, but your thoughts will write the rest. You may be born into hardship, you may inherit pain, but you do not have to inherit defeat. Discipline your thoughts, and you begin to discipline your destiny. Some say, "But I cannot control what I feel." And that is true. Feelings are like waves. They come and go, but thoughts are the boat you sail in and you can steer. You can choose not to dwell in bitterness. You can choose to find meaning in pain. You can choose to seek light even in the dark. This is not easy. It takes practice, patience, and self-honesty. But once the mind is trained, no one can enslave it, not even the harshest of circumstances. I have met men who were surrounded by luxury but lived in fear and self-doubt. I have met women who had nothing but walked with pride and inner peace. The difference between them was not their surroundings. It was their mindset. One had allowed the world to shape their thoughts. The other had shaped their thoughts to stand above the world. We must teach ourselves and one another to think with clarity and strength, to speak to ourselves with the voice of a leader, not a critic. To challenge lies with truth, to replace excuses with action. Every time you rise from failure, every time you speak kindness over yourself when the world offers cruelty, you are building mental strength. You are becoming the kind of person no prison can contain, no injustice can silence, no loss can define. To become mentally strong, we must become thoughtful with our energy. Not every insult deserves a reaction. Not every fear must be entertained. Not every failure is the end. Mental discipline is not cold. It is compassionate. It is choosing peace over panic. It is choosing purpose over pride. It is choosing to stand not because the world agrees with you, but because your conscience is clear and your direction is firm. Let no man or woman here today believe that strength is only for the chosen. Strength of mind belongs to all who choose to practice it. It is not about being perfect. It is about being persistent, day after day, thought after thought, choosing to lead your mind instead of being led by it. Asterisk, asterisk, because the moment you master your thoughts, you begin to master your future. Asterisk, asterisk, there is a certain power that cannot be measured in numbers or wealth. It does not come from titles, from armies, or from influence in high places. It is quieter than that, more enduring. It is the power that comes when a person chooses to suffer with dignity, to walk through hardship without surrendering their principles, and to hold their head high even when the world looks away. That is the power of the mentally strong. That is the strength that no chain can bind and no threat can shake. There is a misconception, a dangerous one, that strength lies in domination, in shouting the loudest, in fighting force with force. But I have learned that the strongest people are not those who retaliate when wronged. They are the ones who remain rooted in their values. They do not allow injustice to twist their souls. They do not let hatred enter their hearts. They stand firm in what they believe, even when standing alone. I have seen people stripped of everything, of freedom, of comfort, of justice. And yet, in the face of such loss, they chose to keep their humanity. They did not let the darkness define them. They chose to remain kind. They chose to think clearly. They chose not to become like the very thing that tried to destroy them. That choice, that unyielding grip on dignity, is a mark of true strength. You see, dignity is not something others give to you. It is something you claim for yourself. It is the decision to value who you are, even when no one else seems to. And in the face of struggle, it is that quiet, personal sense of worth that keeps your soul alive. When everything is uncertain, your future, your safety, your rights, it is dignity that reminds you that you are still someone, that you still matter, and make no mistake, this kind of strength does not make you passive. It makes you powerful. It does not mean silence in the face of injustice. It means speaking out with honor, refusing to be lowered by cruelty, refusing to allow anger to poison your purpose. Because when you act with dignity, you do not become the enemy you are resisting. You rise above it. Mental strength is not about denying pain. It is about transforming it. It is about taking the weight of hardship and using it to stand taller. It is choosing to believe that suffering has not come to end you, but to reveal you. And what it reveals is that the soul, when guided by principle, becomes unbreakable, not because it has no scars, but because it carries them with grace. There will always be those who mistake your calm for weakness. Let them. There will be those who expect you to react in anger or in vengeance. Surprise them. There is no victory in becoming like the very things that hurt you. The true victory is in preserving your peace, your vision, your integrity. When you suffer with dignity, you set a fire of example that lights the way for others in darkness. Some may ask, how can I hold on to my values when everything is falling apart? I say to them, it is exactly then that your values matter most. It is easy to speak of honor when times are good, but in the struggle, in the long nights and the lonely days, that is when your principles are tested, and that is when they become real. That is where the mentally strong are forged, not in comfort, but in confrontation with loss, with injustice, with despair. Even when your voice trembles, even when your legs shake beneath you, stand. Even when the reward is not promised and the road seems endless, stand, not for the applause, not for the approval of others. Stand because you are more than your circumstances. Stand because your conscience demands it. And when you do, you may not win every battle, but you will never be truly defeated. In choosing dignity, you declare to the world that your spirit cannot be bought and your truth cannot be buried. You walk forward not because it is easy, but because your inner strength will not let you live any other way. And in that walk, in that choice, you become a light not only to yourself, but to everyone still trying to find their way. Asterisk, asterisk, because when we suffer with dignity, we do not merely survive, we rise. Asterisk, asterisk, there is a belief that strength is a solitary thing. that to be truly strong, one must walk alone, bear burdens in silence, and build fortitude in isolation. But I have found that the opposite is true. The greatest strength, the kind that endures, the kind that uplifts not only the person but the people around them, is found in unity. It is when we carry one another, when we reach beyond ourselves, that the mind becomes truly powerful. Mental strength is not the absence of need. It is not a mask worn to hide pain or a shield that blocks out connection. It is the ability to stand firm and yet remain open. It is the courage to reach out and say, "I cannot do this alone." And the even greater courage to say, "But together we will rise." The world teaches us to be proud of independence, to wear it like armor. But wisdom teaches us that our minds grow stronger not when we retreat, but when we embrace the shared human journey. There is no shame in struggle, and there is no weakness in needing others. In fact, it takes a deep strength to admit when we are low and to allow others to lift us. When we join hands, when we listen without judgment, when we walk beside one another in hardship, we are not diminishing our strength. We are multiplying it, because the human spirit is not designed to flourish in isolation. It needs connection. It needs purpose beyond the self. Think of the strongest people you know. They are not those who hoard power or stand on the shoulders of others. They are those who build others up, who speak words of hope in the dark, who make space for healing in the face of pain. Their strength comes not from being above others, but from walking with them. That is the kind of strength that changes lives. That is the kind of strength that cannot be shaken. The mind, left alone, can become a prison. It can twist fears, deepen wounds, and echo doubts until we forget who we are. But when another voice enters, a voice of compassion, of encouragement, of shared experience, suddenly the walls crack and light finds its way in. Mental strength is not just personal, it is communal. It is the knowledge that we are not alone in our pain and that others have walked this path and survived. When we help others find their strength, we strengthen our own. There is a quiet joy in being a source of calm for someone else, a deep reward in giving courage when someone has none left. And make no mistake, there will be days when you are the one who needs lifting, and someone else will carry you. This is the beautiful exchange of life. It is not weakness to lean, it is wisdom, because what we build together, we build to last. We must reject the idea that asking for help is failure. We must teach each other, and especially our young, that vulnerability is not an enemy of strength. It is the foundation of it. When we speak our truths, when we share our burdens, when we stand together in pain and in hope, we are stronger than any force that seeks to divide us. We become a wall no storm can tear down. I have walked through days when solitude seemed endless, when the weight of the world pressed hard against my chest. But it was the memory of voices, the presence of those who never gave up on me, the sense that I was part of something greater. That is what held my mind steady. That is what reminded me I still had a reason to rise. We need each other, not only to survive, but to remember who we are. So let us be the kind of people who speak life into one another. Let us offer presence where there is silence, patience where there is pain, and understanding where there is confusion. Let us listen not just to reply, but to connect. In doing so, we become more than strong. We become whole, and the mind, once healed in community, becomes a force not even fear can stop. The mentally strong are not those who walk above others. They are those who walk beside them and carry hope, even when the world offers none. Asterisk, asterisk, because when we rise together, no one can fall alone. Asterisk, asterisk.